Right, so now this is where it gets interesting. This is when we're going to start looking at the what's written in the New Testament, because it links into some. This is when you can start to get a lot more depth to what was written in the Gospels and see how perfect it actually is, because it's linked to some powerful concepts that unless you know the depth of what's there, you might miss it. Okay, you've got to understand when Yeshua says, when I go away, the prince of the world will come. Why when he goes away does the prince of the world come? But what else comes as well? You know, we've got to understand all these, why everything happens in a certain way. So this is it written in Greek, isn't it? Prince of this world, and this is the gematria. So we are going to be having a look at this gematria. It's actually related up here to the verse in Joel 2:25, and I will repay you for the years that the increasing locust, the nibbling locust, the finishing locust, and the shearing locust have devoured my great army which I sent against you. Okay, we have to defeat all that, by the way, just as we've got to defeat the prince of the world. We'll see that. I just want to first go and have a look at the concept of this prince of the world in the Gospels, because it's very, very interesting, and I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding with actually what we're dealing with regarding it, and people don't even understand just to what degree they are subject to this authority, to this slave who rules as a king. You know, and you need to start to waken up. Where are you? Where are you in your spiritual understanding and maturity? You know, would you be able to take the prince of the world down based on the knowledge of Yod Heh Wawi that you currently have? And if the answer is no, you need to get more knowledge, because things are speeding up. You see, we all had COVID. We all had COVID to contend with. The evil is being revealed. And we've got to have something that's more powerful than what is being revealed. And you don't need to be a genius to figure out there's a lot of evil. And we've got to step up, because this evil needs to be defeated for us to be all that we can be. So we've got to really start to look into this. Quite an interesting thing from this prince of the world. It comes to 3,121, which is the 446th prime number from 1, and that equals Ha'emeth, the truth. You see, to defeat this, you need the truth, not your Roman Catholic version of the truth, which is Jesus Christ Superstar, which is none other than the prince of the world himself. You need the real truth. Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. And the whole concept of the Moshiach ben Yosef rooted back to the Torah of Moshe in truth. This is what's going to empower Yaakov to defeat Satan and all his lies. Right, let's go and have a look in the Gospels then. Okay, so this is, it's not actually the phrase Prince of the Prince of the World, but it's similar. This is from Ephesians 2:2. I've brought this page up because you can go to this, I think it's this one here, Treasury of Scripture Knowledge. Go on to Ephesians 2. This Bible Hub is absolutely brilliant, by the way. I really recommend it. But you can go into this section up here, which is Treasury of Scripture Knowledge, and it's going to give you all the verses that are connected to the concept, some of the concepts within this particular verse. And I think it gives you a link. I was looking through this thinking this is quite interesting, because this is looking at it from different dimensions. So there's Ephesians 2:2, in which you used to walk when you conform to the ways of the world and the ruler of the power of the air, the spirit who is now at work in the sons of disobedience. So I just pointed this out first. So if you want to go and have a look at a broader context to this, I suggest going on here, putting in Ephesians 2:2, and then bringing up this TSK, which stands for Treasury Scripture Knowledge. So then you can go just get a depth. You can go into this concept and see how it's linked into other concepts that are related it's related to Satan. You know, it's basically related to Satan, but that's not the whole story with the Prince of the World, is it? Because there's an aspect of him that is a guardian angel. So you've got to understand the both aspects of it. It's only evil when we reach a place of maturity, when this shell oppresses us and causes us all the problems that we see in this world now, all the deaths that come as a consequence of religion, because we are trapped by this evil perspective in our own narrow perspective. Exile, what does exile mean? It means, what does Pharaoh mean? It means a constriction. Like it's like related to the concept of the neck. You've got your head, which should flow freely, but it's like you've got a constriction of the neck, so the wisdom don't flow down into your body. It's a narrow perspective. It's a self-centered perspective. All religions create a self-centered perspective. You want to be free, you're going to have to step out of those religions and look at the bigger picture. You want to know Yod-Heh-Wawi is not just appeared to a certain people. What you see, find in religion, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It gets more cultic. It does it in Judaism. I mean, as a classic, you've got all even the Hasidic sects. It started off as Baal Shem Tov, and then it was this branch of Hasidism, this branch, and this branch of Judaism, and then this branch, and they're all doing their own traditions, and same way as in Christianity. You get all these different sects and cults, and they get smaller and smaller because they see everybody else as more and more evil. So we just have to stick together in our little holy huddle. I hope you can see how disempowered you are when you take that stand. Because you're basically essentially saying God is here and not there. That's why we're not there. Anything you can point at and say God is, there is God, or there is not God, is idol worship. God is everywhere. And unless you can see him in everything and everywhere, it's not Yod-Heh-Wawi that you're seeing. It's your own false interpretation of God. It's been blinded by the Prince of the World, your own lack of knowledge. So it's always good to get a broader perspective and step outside of yourself, and because that's where it's at, by the way. The narrow perspective. This is why we need Joseph, because he had the bigger picture. He had the broader perspective. He had the good interpretation. He could see things clearly from a more objective position, and that's always helpful. Right, so Ephesians, let's go and have a look at it in context. I'm definitely not an expert on the Gospels. I was a long time away from it. I'm only just coming back to it, so this is all new to me. I've understood the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef and Yeshua primarily and only through the Torah. It took me a long time to even start to read the Gospels again, because all I could see was the contradiction. It's only when you got to get to a place of being firmly rooted in the Torah that you can then go back and interpret this properly, as far as I'm aware. Right, so Ephesians 2:2, and you were dead in your trespasses and sins. Okay, so that's what are trespasses and sins defined by? The Torah, the commandments of the Torah. The ultimate revelation of the Torah of Moshe is the name that we are supposed to emulate, that was revealed to Moshe in the cleft of the rock at the giving of the Torah, when it passed him by. And he could see, and the sages say, what passed him by when he shouted out, Adonai, Adonai, or Yod-Heh-Wawi, Yod-Heh-Wawi, El Rachum V'Chanun, and all the 13 attributes of mercy as they went past. He saw the image or the glory of one who would perfectly emulate those attributes of his name. Okay? And likewise in Yeshua, we have been given the perfect example of one who emulates the name. How we should be. We've been given a living example of how. You want to know Torah, you want to know what Torah is, you want to know what pleases me. You see this guy here? This is what pleases me. But instead we don't talk about emulating his name. We don't talk about that. We talk about Easter and Christmas, and you know, we've separated him off from the concept of the Torah of Moshe, and it's just a big religious mess, and separated him off, the master of the Shabbat, from the Shabbat itself, the true Shabbat. So, and you were dead in your trespassing sins, in which you used to walk when you conformed to the ways of this world, and the ruler of the power of the air, the spirit who is now at work in the sons of disobedience, people who can't be bothered, Erev Rav influence, who can't be bothered to do what is, who can't be bothered to take up the mantle, basically, and imitate and emulate those attributes of mercy for themselves. So they'll create any tradition of men to distract them and keep them busy. Oh, we're just doing this instead. We're doing Torah and Mitzvah. You're not doing nothing except from trying to earn your own reward. And your master's Metatron, the 6 working days. You're just keeping yourself busy, trying to earn your own reward and avoid punishment for your own sense of self, for your own disobedience, according to rules you've made up for yourself. You know, we're supposed to be emulating his name. We're supposed to be like Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh. Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh is only faithful to his name, by the way. He's not faithful to anything else. That means when we on earth are like him, in our finite capacity, he in his infinite capacity matches us. That means he can bring a blessing of his infinite capacity of his name down into this world. We need that. We don't need the world to be full of people slaving away, serving a slave master that isn't even Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh, by the way, to try and earn their own reward. That's going to restrict that blessing. You know, we need to open up the channels of blessing between heaven and earth. We need the light of his name, the infinite capacity of his light. We need his blessing of his name to come down onto earth. The only way, the only thing that can draw that down ultimately is people who are like him, because he is faithful only to his own name. He don't depart. He's not serving something else. He's not serving our sin. He tolerates it as part of his name. He tolerates it, says he's long suffering. But he sustains us in a way, but only to a bare minimum, until we get our act together. That's wrote about in the book Talmud Devorah, by the way, the palm tree of Devorah. So here also all of us also lived among them at one time, fulfilling the cravings of our flesh and indulging its desires and thoughts, i.e. our own sense of self-righteousness is the primary one, isn't it? You know, we're doing what pleases us. And sometimes what pleases us is to fill ourselves up with our own sense of self-righteousness. Like the rest, we were by nature children of wrath, but we should be bringing shalom into the whole world, for the whole creation. But we don't accomplish that because we've got focused on the wrong thing. We've got focused on ourselves instead of being focused on the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh and thinking, how can we emulate him? Given our thoughts, words and deeds, our time on earth should be spent doing better stuff. But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, with Moshiach, even when we were dead in our trespasses, i.e. when we were caught up serving the slave master who rules instead of the king. It is by grace you have been saved. Okay, so this is really significant because one of the attributes of his mercy, of his name as revealed within the Torah of Moshe to Moshe in the cleft of rock, was Chen. That's one of the primary attributes of his name. Okay. This is really significant when it comes especially to the lost house of Yosef, because they had no merit whatsoever according to the Torah of Moshe to earn the right to be drawn close to the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh as revealed through Yeshua, which is a higher level of mercy. It says by grace you were saved. But everything's got to be rooted back to the Torah of Moshe. Else it's just like an orphan or a widow. It's not rooted into the source of life. the only aspect of the Torah of Moshe that could be brought into operation to save the lost house of Yosef was this aspect of grace, because it's a part of his name. Yotewawe al Rachum Wechanun, merciful and gracious. So this Chanun is an aspect of his name. Grace is an aspect of the name of Yotewawe as revealed in the Torah of Moshe, and this is the hook. This is the link between the Torah of Moshe and the revelation that was experienced by the lost house of Yosef through Yeshua. That's how we're saved by grace, because we have to be rooted back to the Torah of Moshe in some way, and that was the only way back for us, because the rest of his name, or the Torah of Moshe, we had no merit. We'd not been keeping any of it, so how did we get the merit to draw near to the God as revealed through it? We had no merit. So the only aspect of the Torah of Moshe that we rooted back to is the aspect of his name, that is grace, because grace means unmerited favour. Unmerited favour. The house of Yosef had unmerited favour. Why do you think they were allowed to go and be exiled to the extent that they were exiled to the 49th level of impurity, to the absolute depths of exile? The house of Yosef were exiled in far more depraved situations than even Yehuda. Why? Because Yotewawe wanted to reveal his name, that upper level of mercy that was revealed in the book of Micah, chapter 7. Miel Kamocha. He wanted to reveal the higher levels of mercy, the levels of mercy that are the level of crown. So everything is every single thing in creation is to one end and one end only. Every last thing that we experience in creation has got one purpose, and that purpose is to ultimately reveal his name and his authority, sovereignty and oneness. He desires to make known to man himself, not just his name. He desires to make known an aspect of his infinite essence. The aspect of his infinite essence that he desires to make known to man is a concept called his oneness, his echad. So everything in creation is purposed towards that end, because he gave man free will. However, it's only his will that's ultimately fulfilled, and his will is to bless man with a revelation of himself, because he knows that he's the ultimate good, and he desires to bestow it upon man. But he's not just going to give himself over to you freely. He wants you to earn that. That's part of his goodness. So he's given us a whole situation where we have got free choice. We've got to go fight against these forces, because you see, when we get that revelation of Echad in the end, we will have earned it, and we will be glad that we didn't just get it handed to us on a plate, because it's what reveals to, like you can read in a book how good God is, or you can experience it in everything through your life. He wants us to experience Torah. He wants us to experience the living word of Yotewawe. He wants us to experience himself. He wants us to contend with every force of opposite in order to find that truth hidden in it. And everything in creation is purposed towards that end. All of humanity will experience that. Why do we know that? Because there's no vanity and emptiness in anything that Yotewawe does. Everything is part and rooted back to that one will. His Ratzon is to reveal his oneness. Everything is a part of his will. Even man's free choice to do evil, it's all part of it. It's all factored in. Man's free choice and choice to do evil that then creates the veil that is like Memtet, the prince of the world. We've created it for ourselves because we're so immature we can't make the right decisions to emulate his name. All this is part of that ultimate oneness. We cannot defeat his will. Nothing can. There's only him, nothing else beside him. This is when you've got to get Memtet into perspective. Even that is part of his will to reveal his absolute sovereignty and oneness. And he's, like I say, that's just the work that we've got given to earn that good that he desires to bestow. And he wants to give more than we want to receive. Obviously, else we'd be already there, wouldn't we? But in the blink of an eye, we can transition from one reality to the next, from exile to redemption. We just keep doing the work that we've got to do below. And it's by grace, by the way. The final connection to that oneness is through grace again. So we will literally be redeemed by grace again, because God will decide when it's we do everything we can below. We do everything we can below to usher in final redemption, but final redemption is in the hands of Yod-Heh-Wawi to decide, and it's by grace that we enter in again. So, and God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Jesus Christ. Okay, this is probably being misunderstood. In order that in the coming ages he might display the surpassing riches of his grace, demonstrated by his kindness. And that's again another aspect of the name, the holy name. And what's kindness related to? It's related to emeth, chesed wa emeth, kindness and truth. You're going to need both of those things, by the way, because without kindness you don't get the chokhmah, the wisdom. I talked about that before. Yeshua represents the higher wisdom. Moshe represents the lower wisdom that need uniting together as one. Or the higher name and the lower name, you need uniting together as one. By his kindness to us in Jesus Christ, okay, which is Yeshua HaMoshiach. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves, it is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. House of Joseph had no merits, they had no works. They got to accept. You know, it was through faith in Yod-Heh-Wawi's provision, okay, to be by grace. But that grace, where does the grace come from? The grace comes from the Torah, his name as revealed in the Torah of Moshe. This should have rooted us back to the Torah of Moshe, by the way, but what has it done instead? We've fallen from grace if we start keeping the Torah of Moshe, which is absolutely, it's a part of the delusion, isn't it? You know, if you start keeping Torah, the argument that Christians will impose on you is that you have fallen from grace. But where is the grace that the Christians are speaking about? Where does the grace come from that they're speaking about? Where is the grace that helped them to access the name of Yod-Heh-Wawi through Yeshua? The grace comes from the Torah of Moshe. The grace is that it's not revealed in the it's not revealed in the name of Keter. Grace is only revealed in the Torah of Moshe. So these people that say that you've fallen from grace when you start keeping the commandments, they don't understand that. It's through the grace as revealed in the Torah of Moshe that we were able to access the name as revealed through Yeshua. So it's a complete lie. You don't fall from grace. That is the route back to the Torah of Moshe that we actually need to sustain us. So you've been saved through faith, which is it's at the level of crown, that itself. And this is not from yourselves, it is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance as our way of life. What we're supposed to be doing then? We're supposed to be emulating his name. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And through that creating a big abundance of blessing for everybody on earth, as it is in heaven. So contrary to that is this these people who were under the subjugation of this ruler of the power of the air. We've got to break free from that. Right, this is very interesting. This is the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh, isn't it? Like I say, I'm not an expert on the Gospels, but if I root it back to what I know from the Torah and things like that, it makes a lot more sense. Now, however, I am going to him who sent me. Not yet none of you asks me, where are you going? He actually went into heaven, but then he descended into exile, didn't he? His soul is down here in us, suffering in this exile, trying to encourage us to be like him. Instead, your hearts are filled with sorrow because I have told you these things, but I tell you the truth. It is for your benefit that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will convict the world in regard to sin and righteousness and judgment. In regard to sin, because they do not believe in me. They don't believe in the revelation that was revealed through Yeshua HaMoshiach and the power to save. You know, those who had been without merit. In regard to righteousness, because I'm going to the Father and you will no longer see me. In regard to judgment, because the prince of this world has been condemned. Okay, through Moshiach, the prince of the world is condemned. So that's very interesting, isn't it? The Metatron has also got this concept. He is the executive arm of justice. Okay, so when you're getting punished and you think you're getting punished by God, and if you do this you'll avoid punishment, and if you do this you'll get rewarded. Yod-Heh-Wawi never changes. So even if you've got that mentality, that means you're subject to the prince of the world to some degree, and that might be for your benefit until you're spiritually mature. But then once you are spiritually mature, you've got to fight against that guardian and break free and enter into messianic levels of consciousness. So like you say, there's two aspects of it, isn't there? Just like it's the clipper, the evil shell is like protecting the fruit until it's fully ripe. You know, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is all about eating unripe fruit. It's connected to the concept of eating unripe fruit. There will be a time where the fruit ripens. I still have much. So the prince of the world has been condemned through Moshiach, Yeshua. Okay, been put in his place, or we've been empowered to overcome it. Also, this is related to the story of the paradise, because what happened to Metatron, according to the sages, he was whipped for deceiving those people. This is all in a parable, if you like. You understanding very big, powerful spiritual concepts that they can't be understood even in words. So they've got to tell you a story, and hidden in the story is something that will help us down here understand it. So Metatron was seated because he's the scribe in heaven, and this is what confused them when they saw him, because they thought there's only one that can sit in heaven. So then they're thinking, okay, so there must be two powers. And because he didn't communicate to him what he was doing, he was a scribe writing down the judgments and stuff at that time. He had the permission to sit, but because they weren't aware of that, they just concluded, oh, he's sitting in heaven, there must be two powers. This is a problem also with the concept of Moshiach. We've got to be very, very careful that we don't see there's two powers. There isn't two powers, there's one power. It's called the name of Yod-Heh-Wawi. So he's the ultimate power and he's the ultimate will, and the Moshiach is like his vice regent on earth as it is in heaven. It's got to be careful that we don't confuse this concept of Messiah with Yod-Heh-Wawi himself. Okay, what happened to Metatron, according to the sages? He was lashed, because he ultimately ended up in a lot of deception, didn't it, and negative consequences for all those rabbis that entered into the secret dimension of the Torah and were deceived by the concept of Metatron. Okay, so Metatron got punished on account of that. So it's linked even to what Yeshua says, and in regard to judgment, because the prince of this world has been condemned. Okay, but bearing in mind also in the Rosh Hashanah Machzor, there's three people mentioned. You've got Metatron, Sar HaPanim, Sorry, no, you haven't got Metatron. You've got Metatron Sar HaOlam, Metatron Prince of the World, Eliyahu Hanavi, and Yeshua Sar HaPanim, Yeshua the Prince of the Face. And this is all in the Jewish Maxor. This is a prayer contained within the Jewish Maxor, where they have got to pray for atonement and forgiveness on Rosh Hashanah, the day of the trumpets, the blowing of the shofar. Why have they got the concept of Yeshua Sar HaPanim in there? Because there is no forgiveness unless you've got that. There is no forgiveness for the desecration of his holy name unless you've got that tip of the Yud revealed. Because desecration of the holy name affects even up to the level of the letter Yud. Teshuvah, repentance, and Jubilee, Yovel year, and all the provision within Judaism for correcting sin only goes up to the letter He of the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. Blemishes up to the letter He. Desecration of his only holy name goes up to the letter of Yod. And you can only atone from above. Atonement means covering. So you can only cover the body of the Yod with something higher than the Yod. What's higher than the Yod? The tip of the Yod. What aspect of Moshiach is the tip of the Yod? It's the Yechida, it's Moshiach ben Yosef. He's the crown, he's the thorn of the Yod. Sorry, he's the thorn on the Yod. So that's why they have to put the reference to Yeshua Sar HaPanim, because even they know who the Moshiach is. And there wouldn't be, in Judaism, the only atonement for Chilul Hashem, it's called, Chilul Hashem, is a halal, a dead body. You can only atone for desecration of the holy name through your dead body, halal. But Yeshua is a provision, so you don't have to die. You can desecrate the name and you don't have to die in order to gain forgiveness for that sin and atonement for that sin. That's another reason why Jews need Yeshua Sar HaPanim, and even the Rosh Hashanah Machzor points this out. Okay, but in that same context is linked to Metatron Sar HaPanim and Eliyahu Hanavi. There's all mysteries involved, isn't there? We've all been lied to. I still have much to tell you, but you cannot bear to hear it. However, when the Spirit of Truth comes, he will guide you into all truth. We need the Spirit of Truth now. That is the actual key to overcome Satan. You cannot defeat Satan without the truth. Why? Because he's the father of lies. The only thing that can overcome a lie is the truth. However, the Spirit of Truth comes, he will guide you into all truth. And he will not speak on his own, but he will speak what he hears, and he will declare to you what is to come. He will glorify me by taking from what is mine and disclosing it to you. Everything that belongs to the Father is mine. That is why I say that the Spirit will take from what is mine and disclose it to you. What is Yeshua's, by the way? What is Yeshua's is the tip of the Yod. It's an aspect of the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, the highest aspect of the Moshiach. That is actually one with Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, not absolutely one, but indiscernibly one. There's a lot in there then, isn't there? Everything that belongs to the Father is mine. That is why I said that the Spirit will take from what is mine and disclose it to you. It will take from what is the tip of the Yod. In a little while you will see me no more, and then after a while you will see me. Okay, so I won't go any further into that. I don't really know what he means by that, but whether that's when he's referring to you won't see me again until you say blessed is he who comes in the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, and we know exactly what that means, the full power of his name, because we don't talk about that enough, do we? You know. Right, so I think I've just read that, haven't I? Alright, we in John 14? That was on John 6. Alright, this is from John 16 then. So just read John 14, so from John 16. If you love me, you will keep my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth, Emeth. Okay, the world cannot receive him because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you do know him, for he abides with you, and you be and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. In a little while the world will see me no more. So there's a parallel here between what's going on here and 14. By the way, there's a connection here with Enoch, because he was no more, and it's also connected to Daniel. There's a prophecy about the Moshiach being no more. I did a recent teaching on Daniel. It goes through this concept of no more. It's highly messianic what it's actually saying. It's linking you back to Daniel in some way, but it's also linking you to the concept of Enoch, who was no more. And according to the sages, Enoch became Metatron. Okay, and according to the Vilna Gaon, there's Metatron and Moshiach ben Yosef are one, but it's a little bit difficult because there is some truth in that as well. It's to do with this, the incarnation of the supernal days, what I said at the beginning. Metatron's the 6 days, the 666. Yeshua's the 7th day, the 777. Moshiach ben David is the 8th day, 888. So you just have to know the subtle differences, because you don't want to be bound up with the concept of the 666, do you? Which you could so easily be if you misinterpret it wrong, and a lot of people do. This being no more is connected to the Metatron. In a little while the world will see me no more, but you will see me, because I live, you also will live. On that day you will know that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. Whoever has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and reveal myself to him. And it goes on, doesn't it, about Judas Iscariot, and then it goes on again at the bottom. I'll just read it quickly. Judas not Iscariot, this is Judas not Iscariot, asked him, Lord or Master, why are you going to reveal yourself to us and not to the world? Yeshua replied, if anyone loves me, will keep my word. My Father will love him, and he will come to him and make our home with him. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words. The word that you hear is not my own, but is from the Father who sent me, i.e. the Torah of Moshe, the commandments, the Torah of Moshe. He just with emphasis on loving your neighbour as yourself, and even loving your enemies, by the way. We've only got the opportunity to love the enemies at the higher. This is not within the Torah of Moshe. This is through grace, accessing the higher levels of mercy that's revealed in the book of Micah. We've only got the power to love your enemies at that level, because it's a higher level of forgiveness. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words. The word that you hear is not my own, but it's from the Father who sent me. All this I have spoken to you while I'm still with you. But the advocate, the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have told you. So we do need this Ruach HaKodesh. However, there's a lot of what's the word? False. People are deceived. There's a lot of familiar spirits, and people get an illumination in their soul through Yeshua. You can get an illumination in your soul through reading one verse, but that don't necessarily mean you've been anointed with the Ruach HaKodesh. It might feel like something a lot more holier than what you're used to, and you might have had an outpouring of the Holy Spirit, but then that outpouring can have greatly diminished because you could have wandered off the path. You could have been doing what you're not meant to be doing, and the Holy Spirit won't be anywhere around you, by the way. So you need to continually be refreshed with that, because there's a lot of deception around regarding it. The Holy Spirit should lead you to holiness for a start, and should lead you to emulation of his name. Some people are doing a whole lot less than that and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. Right, that's just back to Ephesians 2. So I hope you can appreciate a little bit looking from what we've looked at regarding the concept of Metatron, Prince of the World, found in the Zohar, and we're going to have a look at the Talmud shortly, how that links us back to what was written in the Gospels, and hopefully it should give us a bit of depth. And like I say, if you go to this and have a look at all these, I mean, there's loads of scriptures. It's very interesting. You're going to have a little bit more to work with. The prince, for example, all these forces that deceive you into living through your flesh rather than living through you know, letting your flesh dominate over your soul rather than letting your soul dominate over your flesh. That's the battle that we've got to ultimately overcome. We've got to get to a place where our soul dominates over our flesh. We can only do that with the truth. The truth is what sets us free from that dominion, and to our soul being empowered to overcome our body. That's give truth to Yaakov. Yaakov represents our soul. Esav represents our body. If you want your soul to dominate, your soul needs to know the truth, like Yaakov needed to be told the truth. Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. Because without him, he had no Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, it tells you that in the Torah, his spirit was diminished. And then he was brought to life when he was told the truth, Od Yosef Chai. So there's all this, it's all connected, and that's how it's all rooted back to the Torah of Moshiach. That's why we need to know the Torah very, very clearly, because then we'll understand this whole history that we're experiencing, which is totally and utterly rooted in the Torah of Moshe. Why? Because the Torah of Moshe represents a revelation of his name, Yoteh-Wahweh, and Yoteh-Wahweh is faithful to his name. That's why we should be living Torah scrolls. That he's faithful to, he wants to be near us. We are him. We are representing him on earth in physical reality. Okay, so I'm going to try and go through this quick because I have gone on quite a lot now, but these are really important concepts that we've got to start to be aware of. So let's go and have a look at this number. So the regular of this, Prince of the World, this is the Greek gematria, by the way. This is not Hebrew. There's a reason why I did it, because I was told by a very reliable source that the Greek New Testament is actually sanctified in some way by the Sanhedrin. I can't get you a source on that, but it came from quite a high authority, so I believe it because that has been the gospel that's gone out into the world, and it's served a purpose, and only Yoteh-Wahweh could have done that. So we've got to recognise things for what they are. Right, so the regular of that is 3121, which is the exact mispag kadima of this phrase, and I will repay you for the years. It's linked back to Joel. I will repay for you the years that the increasing locust, the nibbling locust, the finishing locust, and the shearing locust have devoured my great army which I sent against you. This is connected to the Prince of the World. We need to be repaid. You see, for this battle that we've endured, all of us together, to try and defeat this force called the Prince of the World, especially when we get towards the end, when all the powers are there in the world to see. I mean, how many people had to die during COVID? This is a war. This is a war about good against evil, truth against lie, isn't it? And we've got to overcome that force. And the only way we can do it is with the truth and true knowledge of God. Truth should lead you to true knowledge of Yoteh-Wahweh. And that's what should empower us to be who we are meant to be. So he will repay us for the years that being under the slave that rules instead of the king has caused us all the misery that it has. Okay, so this is also connected. This Prince of the World has got an ordinal of 241, a Greek ordinal of 241. Together they come to 3,362. You've got this concept of the two sons of the oil. Shnei B'nai Hayiz Hor. Okay, two sons of the oil. These are the two anointed ones that's talked about. done a teaching on this recently because of this number here, 322. 732 even. 732, we'll see what the gematria of that is, but these two sons of the anointed, which are ultimately Moshiach ben Yosef, Moshiach ben David, okay, if you fill out the two sons of the oil for the different ways that they can be filled, when the hay is filled, the different ways that it can be filled, just as the name Yod He Waw He can be filled different ways. So when the hay is filled with the different ways, and the Yod is and the Vav is filled the different ways that it can be, just as, like I say, the name Yod He Vav He can be filled different ways, 4 different ways. So if we add all the fillings up for two sons of the oil, the two anointed ones, it comes to 6,724, which is 2 times 3,362. So exactly 2 times the prince of the world. You see the sons of the oil, the two anointed ones, the two Mashiachim, Moshiach ben David, Moshiach ben Yosef. You need to be connected to that reality in order to defeat the prince of the world. And you need to know who that actually is. Okay, we're going to see on the next one who that actually is. There you go, Ephraim and Manasseh. So Ephraim, Manasseh he was the interpreter between Joseph and his brothers, and he really represents Christianity. Ephraim, he represents the lost of the house of Joseph within Christianity. Ephraim represents the lost of the house of Joseph within Islam. Okay, talked about that a lot. These are the two concepts of Moshiach. The Moshiach ben Yosef, Moshiach ben David. Okay, come to 732, exactly the same as the two sons of the oil. So you need to get, this is why do you think that the blessed, Israel is blessed that they are like Ephraim and Manasseh? Because you're really asking them to be like the two concepts of Moshiach. Go back to what we said about Bereshit, that first aspect of Zohar. You've got to have Moshe revealed with the two Mashiachim. So you've got to have Moshe revealed, the Torah of Moshe, which really represents the ketubah, doesn't it? It's a marriage contract. Who are the two witnesses to the marriage contract? Ephraim and Manasseh. It all goes together. This is why you need the bigger perspective, because then you're not calling billions of people idol worshippers. You got to understand that hidden in all that is something that Yod He Waw He is doing to fulfill his Torah perfectly, by the way. So we've got the two sons of the anointed related to the prince of the world, and then we're told even who the two sons of the anointed are, the Ephraim and Manasseh, the two sons of Yosef. Okay, it's the house of Yosef. It's the house of Yosef. This is what's going to defeat this prince of the world. The revelation that has been given over to Yosef. And then this is very interesting, isn't it? Because you've got the two sons of the oil, the two anointed ones, and one of the fillings out at the level of Yetzirah, by the way, which is the level of the prince of the world. This is why we've got to get out of, we're in the world, not of it. And there's a lot of truth in that, because he's not the prince of all the worlds. He's the prince of the world of Yetzirah primarily. We've got to get beyond that to the level of Bria, to the level of the Garden of Eden. So 1670 is the filling out of the two sons of the two sons of the oil, or the two anointed ones, at the level of Yetzirah. And as we can see, the Mispah Gadol of this phrase, and as one of the princes you will fall. So that word there is sarim, tifalu, you will fall. We want in this prince to fall, because this prince falling means we've been raised up. We've been raised up like Ephraim and Manasseh to defeat him. Okay, which means basically the two aspects of Moshiach. So we can see even that we need to be at this level to cause the falling of the prince. What princes? And as one of the princes, one prince. Uka achad. Who is the one prince we want to fall? We want the prince of the world to fall. So you see, that's connected to the concept of the two sons of the oil. We've got to be connected to these realities without being thoroughly connected to them. And that means to be connected to the truth that's hidden in Islam, to the truth that's hidden in Christianity, to the truth that's hidden in Judaism, to the true Torah, to the true knowledge of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. Because if we don't have that, we will have a lie there instead. We will have lies about everything that's outside our little narrow perspective, and that's just enemy territory. Then that's just giving dominion over to the prince of the world. You want to take back dominion from this liar. Wherever you have got false knowledge of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, you've got given dominion over the prince of the world. So we've got to look for the truth in everything. That's why we need. Why do you think we've got given the spirit of truth? And then this is unbelievable, isn't it? Sim na yodcha tachat yerechi. Please place your hand under my thigh. So this takes us all the way back to the Abrahamic covenant. Okay? And who came from Abraham? All the Abrahamic faiths. And we can see, to defeat the one prince that we want to fall. Why do we want the one prince to fall? Because it says that we've got to raise up the fallen succor of David. The fallen succor of David. And there's this is connected to the whole concept of abortion, by the way. This word nafal, to fall, it's like it's connected to the concept of a stillborn. You know, we can go so far along our process of maturation. We can go so far, and then do you know what? We fall at the last hurdle. We don't make it to full spiritual status, to the level where we need to defeat these princes of the world. We somehow fall. We somehow get caught in one of his lies. We get caught in one of his nets, and we fail to give birth to Moshiach ben David completely, or the whole concept of Moshiach. Okay, so we can see how it's connected to the whole concept of under my thigh, because without the covenant of Abraham, we've no seed to give birth to. So it's all linked. We've got to have all these things in our mind. And it's all very interesting, isn't it? So we've got to have the truth there instead of the lie. It's the truth that empowers us. And we've got to be connected to all these concepts, connected to all the things that are going to bring us and empower us. We've got to be connected to Abraham for a start off. We've got to be connected to all the forefathers to defeat this farce. So all that's very interesting, isn't it? And then here you go. And God made the expanse, and it separated between the water that was below the expanse and the water that was above the expanse, and it was so. This is connected to the concept of the firmament, and the firmament is connected to the Vav, which is connected to the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef. That's the bit between heaven and earth. So you've got, going back to the concept of the Aleph, the Aleph is made up of two Yods, an upper Yod, a lower Yod, and a Vav in between. Okay, and they add up to 26, by the way. 2 Yods 10 and the Vav is 26. This is what's concealing the name Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. So the Vav is the firmament. This is related to the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef. He's like the firmament. There's heaven and earth. Earth is represented by Moshiach ben David, the Malkuth, establishing kingdom on earth. The upper Yod is connected to Moshe or Tifereth. Okay, or a revelation of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, and then you've got this firmament in between, and that's connected to this verse here. And the gematria of it is quite interesting. I'm not going to go into that today, but the gematria points very clearly to the light of Moshiach ben Yosef. So we can see, if we add up the regular and the ordinal of that, comes to 5,302, which is 22 times 241. And we can see 241 is the prince of the world. Okay, the ordinal for the prince of the world. And 22 are the 22 letters of the Aleph Bet. Okay, the Aleph to the Tav. So we're talking about Moshiach ben Yosef representing the secret inner dimension of the Torah that's written in Aleph, from Aleph to Tav. It's all connected. Instead of the true concept of Moshiach ben Yosef, the true Vav, we've got this it's actually connected to this as well. Please place your hand under my thigh, because Moshiach ben Yosef is connected to the male anatomy. So we can see how it's connected to that, because place your hand under my thigh is not really talking about a thigh, it's just a modest way of saying Brit Mila. So you can see it's all connected, and the prince of the world is like a male anatomy in what would be called a dead state. You can use your imagination to think about what that is, whereas Moshiach ben Yosef, Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive, is in an alive state. Use your imagination to figure that one out as well. What state do we want? You know, we ideally want to be in an alive state. We don't want Yosef dead and the prince of the world there instead. We want everything to be functioning properly and holy and good and doing the job that it's intended to do. Okay, so all that's very interesting. Then this is even more interesting. It says, be cautious regarding the lesion of Taharath, to observe meticulously, and you shall do according to all that the Levite priests instruct you, as I have commanded them, so shall you observe to do. Remember what Yotewah, your God, your Elohim, did to Miriam on the way when you went out of Egypt. What happened to Miriam? She spoke against the Moshiach. She spoke against the concept of the Moshiach. She spoke against Moshe, who was the most humble. And there's other things that's connected to that. I have actually done teachings on this before, but she spoke against the concept of the Moshiach. And then she ended up with leprosy. So this verse, remember what the Lord your God, it's Lashon Hara. Basically, she had evil tongue. If you look at the whole problem in the desert, it can be traced back to the evil tongue. Wonder spoke against the bread from heaven. The spies spoke against evil against the land. And Miriam spoke evil against Moshe. So you've got the bread from heaven, which represents a revelation of the Torah that got spoken against, which represents a revelation of the name of Yotewah. By the way, the Torah is a revelation of the name of Yotewah. Spoke against the land, Eretz Yisrael, which again is heavily connected to a revelation of Yotewah. They spoke against Moshe. There's the Moshiach who reveals, who is that like the vice regent that reveals and represents and emulates that name perfectly. So we've got a problem with Lashon Hara, evil tongue. We've got to get Lashon Kodesh. We've got to get a holy tongue and speak the truth instead of lies. We can't speak against the Moshiach. We can't speak against the land of Eretz Yisrael. We can't give a bad report. We can't speak against the bread from heaven. We're going to end up with serious spiritual consequences if we do. And this is telling us clearly, remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the way when you went out of Egypt. Because she spoke Lashon Hara, she was afflicted with leprosy. Go up here then, Prince of the World is exactly the same as that verse. So what's that telling you? See, Lashon Hara is going to keep you under his dominion, because Lashon Hara equates to lies. You're speaking lies. So guess whose dominion you fall under? You fall under the Prince of the World's dominion. You need to pray to speak the truth, because the truth shall set you free. Free from what? Well, free from his slavery for a start off. You'll be allowed then to serve the King over kings of kings, as the King over kings. You got to circumcise your heart. The truth circumcises your heart. You got to circumcise your understanding. The truth circumcises your understanding. We really need the truth. We need ha'emeth, the truth, not all these exilic lies and fantasy fiction versions of Messiah and Moshiach and all the rest of it. Anything anything that keeps you in a small perspective rather than seeing the truth in the bigger perspective. It's all dangerous, right? So this is incredible. Now we're going to have a look at this concept of, behold, I am sending an angel before you to guide you on your way, to bring you to the place I have prepared. Beware of him and obey him. Do not rebel against him, for he will not forgive you your transgression. Why? It says, for my name is within him. But like I've pointed out, Metatron has got the same gematria as Shaddai. If he had the power of the name, he could forgive, because we know that the name is all about forgiving. If he gives sins, if he gives transgressions, it goes on and on about forgiving. So it's obviously not the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh, as he would have the power to forgive. That's a big clue what you're dealing with. You're dealing with something that doesn't really represent the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh. Right, we've got to go. This is a brilliant number, by the way. The gematria on this is brilliant, but first of all I want to go and have a look at the Talmud to show you exactly what this angel is in terms of Metatron. And when we attain the status of Moshiach, we're not subject to this angel anymore. Let's go and have a look. And when it says don't obey him, what does that really mean? It means don't worship him. This links us back to the story of the 4 sages that went up into the Pardes, and only one of them returned in peace. This is a big concept, you've got to get it right. This is going to transition you from Yaakov to Yisrael. And our Father didn't make it easy. Why? Because it's just going to reveal how awesome we are made, that we can take these things down, that we can connect to the Spirit of truth through Yeshua, to be able to reveal the truth. All these concepts that gives us the biggest perspective and the good interpretation and all reality. It brings glory to the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh, that removes all false gods from the earth. Right, let's go and have a look what's written in the Talmud then, because it gets very interesting now. Okay, I'm going to say something here. This is on Sfaria.org and this is Sanhedrin. It's all at Talmud accessible, all for free. Okay, the entire Talmud. The context of this Sanhedrin 38b is unbelievably interesting. You know, we've been given messages that we need for now. It's unbelievable, the context. It starts to talk about Adam speaking in Aramaic, and that's a big clue. It gives us, it's a big clue to help us understand the whole story of the 4 sages and into the Pardes. Then it starts to talk about these thrones, one being the footstool and one being the throne, and who they represent, like Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh and ultimately David. Okay. All kinds of stuff is very interesting in context. There's a lot there that's worth a read through if you get the chance. I am not going to go through that. I just want to concentrate on this part. It's going to talk about Metatron in the Talmud. It says, Rav Nachman says, this one, i.e. any person who knows how to respond to the heretics, talking about Christians by the way, usually the word heretics is talking about the Christians, as effectively as Rav Edit should respond to them. But if he does not know, he should not respond to them. I.e., if you've no knowledge, don't bother arguing with people, especially not about concepts of Metatron. The Gemara relates a certain heretic said to Rav Edit, it is written in the verse concerning God, and to Moses he said, come up to the Lord. That's from Exodus. I'll come up to Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh. Exodus 24:1. The heretic raised a question. It should have said, come up to me. Rav Edit said to him, this term, Yod-Heh-Wah-Weh, in that verse is referring to the angel Metatron. This is where it says that it's got the name of the master in it. But let's just go on. Whose name is like the name of his master. Okay, so the real name of Metatron is Yael. Yod-Heh-Vav-El. So it is like his master in that way, but he represents the name of Shaddai. Okay, so whose name is like the name of the master, as it is written, behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way and to bring you to the place I have prepared. Take heed of him and obey his voice. Do not defy him, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. The heretic said to him, if so, if this angel is equated to God, we should worship him as we worship God. Ravidit said to him, it is written, do not defy, do not disobey him. It says, does it? Yeah, do not defy him. And that word in Hebrew is tamer, do not defy him, which alludes to do not replace me, tem irene, with him. So hidden in the Hebrew of that phrase, do not disobey, do not defy him, is also the understanding in Hebrew, do not worship him. And this was the problem, weren't it, with the sages when they came across this concept of Metatron, that they felt it were two powers, one should be worshipped. Okay, so this is how you've got to respond. The heretic said to him, if so, why do I need the clause, for I will not pardon your transgression? Rav Idit said to him, we believe that we did not accept the angel even as a guide, ba favanka, which that word in Hebrew is lematacha, where you get Metatron from in Aramaic. So even as a guide, we believe, this is from the Jewish person's perspective, we believe that we did not accept the angel even as a guide, befavancha, for the journey, as it is written. And he said to him, i.e. Moshe said to him, if your presence go not with me, raise us not up from here. So Moses told God that if God himself does not accompany the Jewish people, or Bnei Israel it is actually, Bnei Israel, they do not want to travel to Eretz Israel. The Gemara relates a certain heretic, alright, so that's it then. When Moshe is in the world, i.e. Moshe has got the power to say, we don't want this angel to come with us, and the angel didn't. Okay, you can find the rest of the teachings. When Moshe was here, Moshe himself guided the children of Israel. He was their shepherd. When Yeshua was here, we're clear, because we just read in the Gospels, that the Prince of the world comes only when he's not in the world. Okay, so what have we got to do? And we've got to get to the status of Moshiach, because when there's Moshiach in this world, there's no angel. The angels came when Moshe died. That goes back to the first, and then he's concealed. Nobody knows where he's buried. Nobody knows the true concept of Moshiach. That's he's buried. We've got to resurrect him from the dead. That means we've got to reveal the true concept of the Moshiach, because the Moshiach represents knowledge of Yotei. So when we have not got that, we've got an angel guiding us instead. When we haven't raised ourselves up to the level of Moshiach, true knowledge of Yotei, we've got this angel doing what we should be doing in our stead. So all the time Moshe was here, there was no angel. And then we see the angel appear in the Torah once Moshe is dead. The angels appear to Joshua. Likewise Yeshua, when he was around, he says, when I go, the Prince of the world will come. So we know the Prince of the world was not in the world whilst he was. He was the Moshiach. This is another proof as well to the Jewish people that all the words of the gospel align to what is written in their own Talmud perfectly. They believe in this, they won't believe the words in the gospel, which more than confirm them to be the truth. It's unbelievable. So that's why we've got to get to the state of Moshiach, because when Moshiach's in the world, there is no Prince of the world. We've defeated him. Because why? Because we're emulating the name. We don't need an intermediary to do it all for us. And by us emulating the name, the whole cog, Metatron's called the cog on earth, or the wheel on earth. He's what's causing creation to go. It's not running according to the name of Yotei. It's running on empty. This is why there's so much deprivation and suffering and destruction in the world. The world is not running according to the name of Yotei. It's been run by a slave acting as a king. We should be at the level of Moshiach, and we, by doing that and emulating the name, cause that whole cog on the earth to run as it should. in accordance to the name in heaven, the pattern in heaven down on earth. So in the meantime, we've got this slave, and we are serving a slave like good little slaves. He don't teach us how to be the king's children, by the way. He teaches us to be slave masters. How can a slave teach you to be children of the king? He's never going to teach you. You got to defeat him. You got to find that within yourself. And the truth shall set you free. It should empower your soul to defeat all these lies. Okay, so back to this. I'm going to cut this short because I've gone on way longer than I thought I would, but it's a complicated topic. It deserves to get the attention that it's needed, because you know, we're living in times where we need to understand these concepts very clearly. This is connected to a concept I've talked about a lot, the concept of Shimon ben Hillel and the concept of Shammai the elder. Shimon ben Hillel was the Nasai that was the head of the Sanhedrin at the time of Yeshua, from AD 10 to AD 30. Shammai was the elder from BC 20 to AD 30. Okay, if we take this phrase up here, behold, I am sending an angel before you to guide you on the way and to bring you to the place that I have prepared. That's got an ordinal of 536. And then the next verse, beware of him and obey him, do not rebel against him, for he will not forgive your transgression, for my name is within him. That's got an ordinal of 560. If we add them together, it comes to 1096. If we add the regular of Shimon ben Hillel, who was the Nasai, and the regular of Shammai the elder, who was the Avbeth Din, in charge of the 70 elders. In fact, the Shammai is an anagram of the 70 elders of the men of Israel. Okay, Shammai Hazakan, Shammai the elder, if you add them together, come to 1096. These were the holy opposites. They're called what's called the Zugoth. They were the last Zugoth. The holy Zugoth between the Nasai and the Avbeth Din, the head of the Sanhedrin, and the what's called the father of the house of judgment, Avbeth Din. Okay, that was representing the 70 elders. Okay, Shimon ben Hillel represented Moshe. Shammai the elder represented the 70 elders in the wilderness, and this is the court for deciding all the halakha. So these two were, I believe, extraordinarily holy people that were two opposites that were able to draw down that revelation of Yeshua at that time. They're definitely a part of it. Shimon ben Hillel, by the way, has had his name completely erased from the entire of the Talmud for no reason. So we know he's connected to the concept of Yeshu. May his name be erased in his memory. He's the only sage, significant sage, that has had his name completely removed, and he's from the house of Hillel, he's from Davidic dynasty. He's very significant. He's most likely the Shimon talked about in Luke 2. I thought previously that he's the Moshiach, somehow connected to Shimon Kefa. I don't really know. He's somebody very significant. In this holy union, it says Yod-Heh-Wah dwells between two opposites. So these were the two opposites that allowed that revelation of Yod-Heh-Wah to be revealed through Yeshua in this world for definite. That's why the man called Shimon was the first man to acknowledge Yeshua in the temple. So it's significant. These two people are significant. They have had their names both erased. Shammai is not a real name. Shammai is not a real name. It's possibly taught related to the word Shemaiah, which means heaven, for in the book of Daniel, for example, written in Aramaic. Shemaiah is the name for heaven. It's also related to an anagram of the 70 elders of Israel, which all those letters, 70 from the men of Israel, the elders of the men of Israel. So add them both together, it comes to 1096, exactly the gematria for these two verses talking about this angel on the way. You see, those two were the only opposites that drew down that revelation of Yeshua at this very high level at that time. And these are the two opposites. What that name, the name dwells between two opposites. Okay, like the name dwells between the two cheruvim, and we know they're somehow connected to the concept of Metatron itself. So if we want to defeat this angel, we've got to understand this history. What was actual history, not the lies that we've been told, and not what's been erased from memory. We need to know who this man is, because he's significant. He's had his name completely erased. There's only 2 hints in the Talmud that give you any indication of just how significant he is. And exactly, Shammai the elder, he was totally betrayed, but the sages say that the halakha will go according to the house of Shammai in the end. Currently we're under Hillel. We're under the rulings of Hillel. Okay, there's loads and loads of significance in that. We've got to understand the significance of that. Why? Because we've got to defeat this angel of we've got to defeat the negative aspect of the angel that guards us on our way. We've got to get to a place of maturity. So we're going to have to confront real reality. Can't hide from it. Because if we're hiding from it, we've got a lie that we've been inherited instead. Who's going to have dominion over that? So this is telling us, you see, you need to find out what went on here between these two. What was the significance of it that we've been lied about? You know, because we need the truth. The truth will set us free. And they are extremely significant people. I've done lots of teachings on them. Lots and lots. I can't say that I've got it all right, because we're trying to sort truth from lie, and it's a long process. It's sometimes little by little until all the jigsaw pieces come together. This is obviously a significant one that's telling us you need to get on and sort that out, truth from lie. Right, for out of Zion shall the Torah come forth, and the word of the Lord, or the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem, the word of Yod-Heh-Wawi from Jerusalem. That's Isaiah 2:3. So that comes to 2,192, 2 times 1,096, which is the exact gematria of these two. This Holy Zugoth, the exact gematria of these, the ordinals for these 2 verses. What is in there then that's so significant? It can help transition us from a place where we're under a guardian to a place where we've reached messianic levels of consciousness and messianic levels of being. Because the Zion is representing Yosef, and Jerusalem represents Moshiach ben David. So it's the concept of Yosef united with Moshiach ben David that's going to overcome this. It's the truth. The truth of that revelation. The true concept of Moshiach, rather than the false one that we've been got, or the lies that we've been told. The truth, the Torah come forth from Yosef, not Yehuda. For out of Zion shall the Torah come forth. What Torah? That really represents the Torah of that was revealed through Yeshua. The higher levels of Torah, the higher levels of mercy of his name. And the word of the Lord, or the word of Yod-Heh-Wawi from Jerusalem, that's connected to Moshiach ben David. So we've got to unite them both together to defeat this concept of the negative concept of the angel of the Lord, our guardian. We've got to defeat him to become who we are meant to be. We're meant to be like Ephraim and Manasseh. We're meant to be like Joseph and David. We're meant to be Moshiach on earth, not Metatron he's doing a really diminished level of work. He's a slave, not a king. We're the king. We're to be like at the level of kings over kings. Our Father in heaven is the king over kings of kings. Okay, and this also is to do with rectifying and circumcising our whole life. Humbling ourselves. Got to circumcise our heart, got to circumcise our anatomy, circumcise our understanding, which is our ears, circumcise our ears, circumcise our entire experience, and circumcise our lips, going back to the Lashon Hara. You can't just speak rubbish, you've got to speak the truth shall set us free. And this is very interesting, isn't it? Because according to the sages, this prayer was written by Shimon Kefa. So maybe he's related to Shimon ben Hillel. They've lied to us about this whole concept of Shimon. We know that Shimon is related to the prophet that would come like Moshe, because it says Tishma'on, listen to him. And that word is tav with the name Shimon. Tishma'on, Shimon, listen to him. Shimon means to listen. So we got this prayer, Nishmat Kol Chai prayer, which is spoken every Shabbat and festival, that according to Judaism was written by Shimon Kefa, that could be somehow related to Shimon ben Hillel. We certainly know it's somebody very significant, connected to the early believers, the early church. And it's called Shochen ad Marom Wakadosh Nishmat. He who dwells in eternity, exalted and holy. The next word to that is his name. And then the prayer is called Nishmat after Nishmat Kol Chai. If you add those together with this that's taken from the prayer, he who dwells in eternity, exalted and holy is his name. And I've gone through this before. I've done teachings on this Nishmat Kol Chai prayer. Very significant prayer that needs to be spoken, prayed often. It's a very, very, very powerful prayer. And really it definitely feels like it's written by somebody very, very holy, and it feels a lot like it could be definitely somebody who's anointed with the spirit of Moshiach, Yeshua. There's no question in mind, it's an anointed prayer, it's an anointed level, it's a bigger perspective, talking about every tongue confess, every knee shall bow, and loads of wonderful, beautiful words in there. Okay, so the initial letters of that spell Shimon. So again, we've got Y. And we can see here that if we take the regular and the ordinal, it comes to 2,192, which is exactly the same as the regular of For out of Zion shall Torah come forth, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And it's exactly related to the two concepts of Shimon ben Hillel, Shammai the elder, and exactly related to this, angel of the Lord. You got to start to ask why. Why are all these things so perfectly linked? And by the way, when it says Shochen ad Marom wa Kodesh, the next word is Shemo, his name. The regular and the ordinal added together come to 386, which is Yeshua. Okay. The regular 346 of his name, Shemo, comes to Od Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. The regular and the ordinal of that, 254 plus 92, as we can see here, 346 is exactly related to Shemo. So there's all these very powerful connections. We've got to start to make them now. Then you've got this, Shemen Mishchat Kodesh, the holy anointing oil. Okay, the holy anointing oil represents the secrets of the Torah as well, and this holy anointing oil was kept in the Holy of Holies. As you can see here, the regular is 1,542, the ordinal is 156. The ordinal is 156, is exactly the same as Yosef, exactly the same as Zion. Add them together, they come to 1,698, which is 2 times 849. Wait till we see what that is. However, the Mispar Gadol of that, holy anointing oil, is 2,192. Exactly the same as the Nishmat Kol Chai prayer that spells out Shimon, exactly the same as out of Zion, the Torah shall come forth, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, and then exactly connected to all this, the concept of the angel of the Lord and this holy Zugoth, which we know was significant. We need to know why they were significant, why they're connected to this concept of the holy anointing oil. This holy anointing oil, by the way, in the Zohar is called Shimon Bar Yochai, the writer of the Zohar, another important Shimon that we need to connect to. The inner dimension of the Torah, the true Kabbalah, which has been hijacked by the concept of Metatron and Ein Sof, which is not true Kabbalah. And without that, we've no Peshat, we've no literal interpretation of the Torah. So this 849, which is connected to the holy anointing oil, is also the filling out of Yonah, where the Vav is filled with an Aleph. Okay. Comes to 849. It's also Tisha B'Av. the day that the temple was destroyed, the day that revealed who the true Moshiach was. Why did it reveal who the true Moshiach did? I did a teaching on this because in Tisha B'Av the words of Yeshua were fully fulfilled and proven that he was a faithful prophet. Why? Because he gave the believers in Yeshua advice. If you see this, flee. Get out of Jerusalem. They got out of Jerusalem when the siege was lifted. Can't go into details now, but I did a teaching on Tisha B'Av. So before Tisha B'Av occurred, there was a siege lifted on Jerusalem, and in that siege lift, the believers in Yeshua all fled to a place called Pella, which means wondrous or miracle. You know, like as in Pella Yowet's wonderful counselor. Okay, so they all went to Pella. None of them was killed. When Jerusalem was sacked, those that didn't believe in Yeshua perished. But at the same time, once that temple was destroyed, they never thought that temple would be destroyed. They thought that was it. When the temple was destroyed, the words of Yeshua were fulfilled at that point, and plus a great salvation was revealed, because all the believers in Yeshua were saved. Yet all the people that didn't believe him perished on Tisha B'Av, the destruction of the temple. Okay. We can see then Tisha B'Av, he's got the same gematria as Yeshua Moshiach, the regular order of Yeshua Moshiach. So we know he was, and it says, the sages say the Moshiach will be born, i.e. revealed or resurrected from the dead on Tisha B'Av. And we can see it's the exact same gematria. The exact same gematria Tisha B'Av as Yeshua Mashiach, which is also the exact same gematria as the filling out of Yonah, which we're told the only sign to a wicked and adulterous generation is a sign of Yonah. That's a sign of Mashiach Yeshua, and it's connected to the concept of the holy anointing oil, which is connected to the concept of the secret inner dimension of the Torah, which we are told by Vilna Gaon is the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. What have we got there instead? Well, we've got this angel there instead, haven't we? Metatron and Ein Sof. Lies. Some truth, some lie. We've got to be able to sort the truth from the lie. That's our job. I'm not going to go through this 230